All right, what is up, Tycoon? Super excited for today's video. We're going to be looking back at the fertilizers. Okay, now fertilizers. I mentioned in my last video, I said, hey, we've been seeing this market rotation into the fertilizer sector, and I think a large part of that was due to inflation stuff, and also the war in Ukraine, right? They supply a lot of fertilizer globally. So a lot of these stocks saw some nice momentum off of that. And if we look over the past few months, right, the fertilizers have been doing very well. Okay, ticker symbol ANDE was up 63% in the past 3 months. All right, before this crazy drop. Okay, I mentioned in the last part of my video on fertilizers. I said, all right, the question we have to ask ourselves is this market rotation over? Is there a reason for them to keep buying into this? And will we see this uptrend continue and the money flow into this? Well, the answer was no, my friends. The answer was absolutely no. The money flowed out of that 3 times quicker than the money flew into it. Okay. I mean, we're looking at highs of 59 right here. Okay. Hit 52-week highs. And then we dropped. Okay. We dropped as low as 43%. All right. Currently, the stock is sitting at about a 35% drop, ANDE. But just insane. All right. And this is quick. Okay. This is in the past 22 days. So in like 1 month, we lost all of the gains, okay, of the past like 6 months on these stocks. Okay. So ANDE is one of them. We're looking at that huge drop. Okay. NTR, another one. Highs of 117 came down and hit lows of 92. We have MOS, another one. Highs of 79 came down and hit lows of 55. We have Seed. All right. Seed was another one where it started this nice rally up. We hit highs of 11, almost $12. And recently we hit lows of 6.33. All right. So I'm going to go through these. And now that we have a little bit of market context, right? Because the key to being a successful trader is understanding, some technicals. All right. Is definitely technical analysis, some fundamental analysis, but also market sentiment is a big part of this, right? So we're looking at these to see if, all right, is that market rotation going to continue, right? Because during that uptrend, all right, you can see here, all right, well, hey, what's the market sentiment on fertilizer right now? Well, it's been uptrending. It's been doing very well. It's been outperforming the S&P 500. So, the sentiment was very bullish on those stocks. Now, the Ukraine crisis has kind of calmed down a little bit. It's not officially over yet, but many people are suspecting it to end soon. And we're just seeing a major drop off. Okay, huge drop offs on these stocks. So now, what I want you guys to think of is, all right, hey, the direction has changed. I want you guys to start looking at these for some put entries, right? Some put options. Okay, and puts are essentially shorting the market with an options contract, right? Um, so if we look at MOS right here, okay, Mosaic, all right, all the ones I'm going to show you have very recent gaps down to fill, and gaps down fill in a bearish market cycle. Okay, we just took a look. A lot of these stocks are down 30% or more, which is bear market territory. So, hey, current market sentiment is bearish on these, and we have close gaps down. Gaps tend to fill 90 to 95% of the time in the stock market. I'll give you a great example of one right here. Okay, there's a gap from this candle to this candle. Okay, I draw it in here with a box like this. I'll make it bright blue so everybody can see it and can't say they don't. And look, 2-3 days later, the gap is completely filled. Okay, so the reason I'm showing this to you guys is we gapped up here recently, right? But was that due, right? Was it justified? Are we now continuing an uptrend, or are we still in a downtrend, right? Because we're trading on the bottom half of our Bollinger Bands now, meaning that this middle Bollinger Band is going to be our resistance level, and this bottom Bollinger Band is going to be our support level. And we're going to bounce in between here as we have done on the chart as it's shown. We came down, we bounce, we come back up towards the top middle Bollinger Band, and we fall back down. We find some support around the bottom Bollinger Band, and we bounce back up. We're heading back up to the middle Bollinger Band, right? So there still could be some bullishness in this. And if we flip our middle Bollinger Band from resistance to support, then possibly we could be starting an uptrend, right? But for now, this is going to be our resistance level, and we have this gap down to fill. Okay. So I want you to take a look at these at the 60 strikes, right? Maybe for November 2022. Take a look at those strikes for the options. And you know, I think that we could see this thing come down. Okay. We're pretty much in neutral territory. We're right at 46 on the RSI. So it could go either way here. It's not overbought, it's not oversold. It's at a decent level, according to the RSI. But you know, keep in mind that these gaps fill 90 to 95% of the time, and we're currently in bear market sentiment. All right. So look for this one to fill. MOS is one. Another one is going to be seed. Okay. Seed also has a pretty big gap down from the beginning of its initial bull run. Okay. So here's our gap down to fill on seed right around $5. It's currently at $7.04. Here is another example of gaps filling. Okay. This was our previous gap down to fill that we had. We came over and we filled that gap down on May 6th. And, you know, it looks like we could be heading down towards this gap down to $5. Okay. Um, you know, because as we're seeing, the market rotation has gone out from the fertilizer place, right? All that money, those 60% gains we saw over the past 3 to 5 months, boom, decimated in less than a month. We dropped 30 to 40%, right? What's another one? Is CF. Okay. CF is another one. All right. We look here at CF. All right. It is trading above the middle Bollinger Band. So right now, this is our support level. So the bottom of our support level of the Bollinger Band is also the bottom of our daily gap down. So doesn't it make sense for it to come up here, face some resistance, come back down towards our middle Bollinger Band and the gap down to fill? You know, I think that that's very likely, right? We just had dividends on Friday, I believe, for CF. And, you know, a lot of people want to hold and get their dividends and then, you know, maybe sell afterwards and get rid of that position, right? And then ICL is also another one. ICL recently filled this gap down. Okay. So we had this gap where during the bullishness, it gapped up. Okay. And then we eventually came back down and filled this gap on April 25th. All right. And now we're looking at it and we're seeing that, all right, hey, well, now we have a gap down to fill. It's pretty big from 1050 all the way up to 1091. All right. So, you know, that's another gap down we have to fill. And let's look at FMC. Okay. FMC, huge monster gap down. I mean, not even a huge monster gap down, but it's a monster drop if this gap fills. Okay. Let's look at like the all-time highs here, right? Previously, and this was April 20th. Shout out 420, favorite holiday. And boom, we look here, we drop. That would be a 33% drop on FMC. And now that's very likely to happen. And not likely to happen like it's going to guarantee to happen, but it's very possible, right? It's entirely possible for that to happen because we just saw how ticker symbol Andy dropped 33%, right? Dropped 35%. So, you know, currently this one hasn't dropped as hard. It is still a very dramatic drop. I mean, you know, it dropped down 21% at its lows. It's currently sitting around, you know, minus 17%. So, you know, so it hasn't been hit as hard as the other ones, but you know, if the market rotation is over and money is not flowing into these anymore, all right, we have to try to figure out, well, who's the buyers, right? Is there really any buyers in this current market that are willing to step into some of these stocks? And if not, there is the possibility that they could fall down to these gaps below and fill on a lot of these gaps. Okay. So we looked at a bunch of them. But the main ones, right, that have the gaps down that I want you all to pay attention to is going to be FMC. All right. It's going to be CF. Okay. We see the gap down on CF here. And ICL, where's that one? Right here. Okay. ICL has a nice, pretty big gap down to fill. And then we have Seed and MOS. Okay. So Seed was the other one. Seed has a gap down of $5 and MOS has a pretty close gap down to about $60. Okay. So, you know, keep in mind of everything that we've been talking about. Okay. We've been talking about market rotation. Will that money continue to rotate into this? When will the rotation end? We've seen signs that the rotation has ended now and that they are now rotating the money out of there, right? So we see the rotation of money into there, and now we're seeing a rotation of money out of there, right? So It's going to be interesting to see, okay, well, hey, has all the money rotated out of it, and then now are we going to consolidate, or we're going to level out, or are we going to continue dropping? And is that going to be the new trend, right, of money rotating out of fertilizers and into another sector? Okay, so thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you learned something. I do viewer requests every single week, so let me know what stock you want to see in the next video in the comments down below. I do those all the time, like I said, every single week. So let me know. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and join the Options Trading Tycoons Discord. Link is in the description below. Use code Zachly for a discount.